is another episode of Bonafide Her Podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Lewis II.
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? How we doing?
It's been almost 2 years.
It's about 2 years. About two and a half. Close to two and a half.
2.5. For those that don't know, this is my first returning guest. Actually, maybe the second returning guest. My first returning male guest, though.
Okay.
My second returning guest, but my first returning male guest, y'all, because it was my first. Mike was my first ever guest, male athlete guest who advocated for women's basketball. It still does. Period. So, yes. So he said, "Clock it." Yeah, clock that. So, but Mike. Let's get to it. So, Mike, can you tell us your sports story to how you got to where you are?
Man, it's a long story, man, in a good way though. So I started in Houston, born in Houston, Texas. Lived life. Me and my family, we moved to St. Louis, Missouri when I was 9, and that's when I started getting around a group that I got in that kind of helped me, not kind of, but for sure helped and shaped me into mostly at that time the mindset and the competitive intensity level that was needed to be able to continuously get better as time goes on. So that's when I met everyone I met in the St. Louis community. And then that led to Chaminade. Once I get to Chaminade, now, that's when we like to say, at least in Missouri, that's when our history started to happen with Jason and Tyler, and Will and Reggie and our whole group that we had that became legendary in the Missouri area. And then that experience, being able to travel all across America at the time with AAU. And then we were at Nike Elite High School right when they had kind of started that whole travel to play against, basically like Jason going to play against other ranked players, but as a team, you get to go as well, and then show your skills, which is why a lot of my college interests came, which is by being around people that were headed in the same direction or even bigger directions, right? That's why which I'm sure we'll get into later, but surrounding yourself with like-minded people and people that are doing better than you is very important in growth. But yeah, then after Chaminade, I go to Duquesne University. Play my freshman year, have a outstanding freshman year. Looking back on it, if I was a lot more business oriented, like a lot of these college guys are now, I would have transferred after my freshman year, and I should have. But you don't know what you don't know at the time, right? So I stayed. We had a coaching change my sophomore year at Duquesne, and then my junior year at Duquesne. That's when things start kind of getting rocky with the new coaching staff. So I end up transferring, go to the University of Nevada. I'm there the last semester of the Martin Twin and Jordan Caroline era, right? When they had just went to Sweet 16 their junior year. So their senior year, I'm there for the second semester of that. So that puts me until my second semester of my junior year of college. And then that summer, Eric Musselman leaves. He goes to, I think he went to Arkansas first. And I left kind of high and dry to a certain extent. And I was at the point where I was like, I'm kind of tired of college basketball and the business, and it's not going well for me, right? But I know I'm a professional from a game-wise, so I'm going to bet on myself. So I actually voided my senior year, which was very hard to do, coming off of I didn't play, but the first semester of my junior year at Duquesne. And I barely played then, right? Because that's when the whole coaching change shebang had hit. So I'm going off limited numbers. I have great freshman year, great sophomore year stats, and I bet on myself. I forfeited my senior year. It was a long year because I was supposed to go into the G League draft that October. My agent at the time gets into it with a GM I'm not gonna say the team, but he gets into it with a G League, team, and about something that had nothing to do with me, mind you. So I ended up not getting picked up by this team in the draft. All the other G League guys had their draft picks, so now I go undrafted in the G League draft, and even more distraught, right? Because college is falling through. Now my first glimpse of professional is falling through, and I was going through a time of like all of this is happening, and this has nothing to do with me. I ain't done nothing wrong. I haven't gotten in trouble. Like I've been performing, you know. So that year was tough. Actually, we ended up got a phone call from Duquesne saying, "Yo, like, we'll finish paying for his education." It was kind of like a oops type of deal, right? It was a oops, but I appreciate them for at least doing that for me. They didn't have to. So I ended up going back on campus. So now I'm on the same campus that I was a star player at, right, a couple years before, and now I'm doing classes. And I don't have practice. Like I'm going to work out, but I'm a regular student now. That was a very humbling experience to be in the same faces, the same people that, they're like, "Oh, bro, you can go to the league next year." Like versus now I'm a regular student. I'm grateful that I was raised the right way, and I've always been, very genuine and kind to everybody, no matter who I'm supposed to be or whatever. Like, so it wasn't as bad of a situation it could have been if I was an asshole. My freshman sophomore year, and now it's like, oh, look who's back amongst, you know what I mean? Like, so I didn't have to deal with that as much, but it was still a humbling experience for sure. But I stayed working out, and then fast forward, COVID happens that March, shuts the world down. And then I end up getting my first overseas opportunity in Hungary that August because the team, of course, their budget dropped because of COVID. So they were looking for rookie guys. The question that they had was like, "Yo, why is there so much of a gap in your resume?" And I explained the whole situation. We had a Zoom call, and I was like, "Yo, this is what it is." But I've been working out. I'm in shape. Like, just bring me in on the tryout. And they brought me in on the tryout, and I mean, the rest is history. So now I played in Hungary, then I went to Poland my second year. Third year, I was in Italy. Fourth year, wow, I'm getting old. Fourth year, Lithuania, and that's where we had met for the first time. When I was in Lithuania. And then after that, actually after the Lithuania team, that same season, I ended up going to Israel to finish my season after national team break that February. So that was a change that happened after our first talk, actually. And then that led me to Germany, my fifth year. Last year I was in France. And, the news will break where I'm going next after this. So I'm not going to say right now. But, we got some good stuff coming out, and then it all comes full circle. So it's been a 5-minute breakdown of the journey, right? But it's been a journey, and it's been a hell of a journey so far for sure.
I will say it's so interesting because like a lot of people like to kind of be kind of looked down on, say, the G League or the overseas route. But like from your experience, you know, he also played in mid majors with Duquesne and Nevada, which was so interesting. You pull out the bag of the Martin twins because they came from NC State. So it's like they went from NC State to they got their shine on to Nevada with that Nevada team that you mentioned having that whole run in the NCAA tournament. So from your experience, what would you say is some of the misconceptions of the conferences that Duquesne and Nevada is in?
The Atlantic 10 versus the Mountain West. The first thing I'm going to touch on is I don't care for a bunch of people who like to talk about conferences and they never play basketball. So I say that to then go into A10 is a East Coast conference, which means, and then you add it being a mid-major. So you have a lot of guys with chips on their shoulders. You have nothing but guys with chips on their shoulders because everyone feels like they should have been highly recruited. It's not a person at any school that they won't tell you they should be somewhere bigger, on the men's side or on the women's side. The thing about mid-majors are guys are trying to either be that Damian Lillard type or they're trying to transfer up. So it's a dog eats dog world in the middle, in mid majors. And you have guys that are actually good. Like these are all a lot of people, again, men or women, but it's a lot of people that have been overlooked. You know, they weren't recruited bigger because of their size, or maybe it could have been like a grade thing or one incident. Like we don't know the whole story for everyone, but it's a good group of guys, right? So I go off that to say the A-10 is a tough conference. It's East Coast style, so that means it's aggressive, it's physical, it's fast in its moments. But you on the East Coast, you gotta have some thick skin, and that was one of the first things that I learned going to Pittsburgh and being with a lot of guys that are on my team from Jersey and New York. It's like they're gonna talk crazy to you all day. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna push you around. If they smell weakness on the court, they're gonna exploit it. They don't care. That's the entire conference. So then you shift over to Mountain West, still a mid-major. So you have the same ideology, the same mentality that you have on this East Coast, but the difference is it's West Coast basketball. So it's more skill-based, more athletes. It's a faster-paced game, but you're still dealing with the same type of killer on this court because everyone still feels like they're under-recruited and they deserve to be somewhat bigger, right? So, of course, those conferences don't have as much money as your SECs and your ACCs, of course, right? Those are your blue bloods, those are your heavy hitters. Those are the ones that get all of the networking and, we get all of that, which is why they get a lot of attention. Somewhat nicer analysts from ESPN and all the other outlets, right? The more of the push, right? Because that's where the money is. Let's just be honest about it. But for people that like to knock the levels, there's people at NAIAs that could be in the NBA, and there's people at Duke that don't deserve to be at Duke. Not all, but there are a couple here and there where it's like, bro, you know what's going on. But you got in, and God bless you. But I hate that kind of conversation because it's not right. When you see pickup in the summertime, you see, right? Like I know you like basketball, so you see it'd be a dude from a D3 going against an all-star. And it's like he is killing it right now. You know what I mean? So if you're good at basketball, you're good at basketball. And everyone doesn't have the same path and journey, right? And some people have to take a longer route. Why? I don't know. That's a question for you and God, right? But yeah, if you can hoop, you can hoop.
I think you nailed it on that point because I think there's you mentioned everybody want to be the Damian Lillard, like coming out of, the mid-major. Everybody probably wanted to be like CJ McCollum, who came from Lehigh, who shocked everybody when they beat Duke in the NCAA tournament. Nobody thought a 15 seed could be a 2 seed, or say I don't know, Alfred Payton, that people forget who this man was, like, coming from Louisiana. Yeah, Steph, everybody, like Steph Curry came from Davidson, made Davidson what it is. Like, so it's like all these players that, you see, like, and another thing too, like Derek White coming from a JUCO D2, then going to transferring to a D1. Now he's on a championship team with the Celtics. So it's like the resources, like that's the thing, is who you know is not what you know, it's who you know. It's the resources and the investment of because and that's a great interesting point, because there is it's like they pick and choose, especially like the sports commentators, they pick and choose who should be the sports commentating of what games is going to be pushed. Free game, y'all. Free game. Free game right there. Hey, I was like,
pick it up,
I was like, I didn't even think about that. That makes perfect sense, because it's like, dang, that is so true, because it's like they based off now is like the Duke and Carolina game always going to be televised? Yes,
of course.
But then you have say some of the mid-major games. This is another thing I think a lot of things that needs to be changed is as much as this is how, when it comes to mid-majors, that mid-major team, who wins the regular season, and then there's always those mid-majors when it comes to tournament time, where say the team that won the regular season, they lose to a different team in the conference. It's like they take that team that won conference, there's automatic bid. But yet you have some of these other mid-major teams that has a better record than say like some of the big, Power Five teams that their records like kind of questionable, but yet how do they get in?
And that's also I agree with that one because that's been a topic, especially this past year with the Miami of Ohio situation, like how they almost didn't make the tournament, even though they were like 35-0, or maybe lost one game, maybe.
They lost one game.
Exactly, and they had a non-conference schedule where they beat like 3 high majors, I believe, or maybe even 4, and like 2 of them were ranked or something like that. So it's just like there's situations like them where it's like, bro, they're one of the best teams in the country. Like they need to be in a tournament and they need to have a respectable seed. But then, and I didn't always think like this. This is just growth. It's actually gonna kill me to say this, but it's just like if you take like let's say the middle of the pack SEC team that makes a tournament and it's like, bro, they barely above 500, and then you have like let's say the same conference as Miami, Ohio, but the team that lost to them in the conference championship, it's like they still had a great year. They got some wins, but they didn't get this trophy, so they didn't get their automatic bid, so they get nothing. It's 2 solutions. One, we can kind of keep it the way it is and just say, look, SEC makes more money, so this is just how it's going to be because it's business and be transparent. But they're not going. No one's going to just be fully transparent. The other thing I think, if there are teams that are in that situation and teams that some people go like, they should make it, I think we should make them have their own small tournament and duke it out. They kind of do that now with the first 4, but they don't do it with those specific teams. They do it with the, you know what I mean? Like some people was like, okay, y'all gave them a chance, but they not coming out of the first 4, which I like as well because that gives them at least a moment. I don't know. I'm not on the committee. I don't get paid for that. But I just think that, those 2 could help make it, I don't want to say fair because sports in life is not fair. It's just
right.
Right. So it's like, it's not going to make it fair, but from a competitive standpoint, it's like, at least we can have a better feel of, all right, we have the best 64 ready to rock and roll for this crazy tournament that we about to enter. You know what I mean? But then if you get even deeper, will that ever happen? No. Why? Because you have your draft picks. Most of the draft picks they've been on, they wanted to pick since they were 16 or 17 years old. They're not going to let somebody from Norfolk State go give this man 30 and 10 3 nights in a row. Why? We've been investing millions of dollars in them since AU programs. Why would I let this person that no one knows go basically waste my money? No, we keep him away or her away. This is not good for this image and this brand and this world that we're creating. Right? Like that's really what it is. And of course you have your ones that are just like they're cold, right? Like you have like, and I like to say your all-stars are the ones in the world where it's like, no, those are like demigods. Like we're not touching them. Like they're that good at the game.
Right? Yeah. I think
you got your all-stars, like they're that good at the game. But then you have everyone else, like you kind of got to get in where you fit in. So it's not fair, but that's just what we live in. But it's just the honesty.
Yeah, I think that also too. Speaking of mid majors too, like the HBCUs, like the HBCUs are considered mid majors, but yet the mid majors, HBCUs, like those teams, like they'll have a great record, but it's always the seeding that is being placed where they're seeded like the fight for the seed of the 11th seed or the 16th seed. They always like to place those as the first 4 out, and it's like, why don't you guys place them? Like say a higher seed, which they can actually compete. Like, but of course, folks ain't ready for that conversation because it's like, like you mentioned, like some people have an image that they need to uphold so it can cater to a specific audience that's like, we need to build this up and then they're going to be gone by the next year. we're just gonna cater to them. And it's like this is what makes, say, some of the people who play the game really kind of lose the essence and the value and the love of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
And it's definitely understandable because there are moments where it's just a disgust. It's just like, bro, I'm out here working up, doing all this extra stuff, working out, eating right, doing all these sacrifices just for me not to be palatable for the right person. And now I'm so I get it. But then also now I don't feel as bad for a lot of these college dudes no more. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. And I was just talking about yesterday. I kept it all the way on. I was like, bro, I don't feel sorry for you right now. You've made $900,000 in 2 years in NIL. Mm-hmm. You're not a $900,000 player even overseas. So the game has changed, right? You now it's okay to be in college. It's 27-year-olds fighting for their 7th year. I don't knock it though. First of all, go get your doctorate. Okay, go ahead, right? And you getting paid. So I'm not upset about it. I'm not one of those older guys that's like, oh, I can't believe. No, I love it. But you have to understand now the game itself has changed. So a lot of guys that weren't going high major, they're not going high major. Why? Because they have an IQ, they have a skill set, or they've just been in college 3 or 4 years. So they're getting a Kentucky now. They're getting a Oregon. They're getting a whatever because now teams are incentivized to win because you actually paying kids money like grown-ups. Like it's like professional sports. People don't never like to believe that the NBA is about winning. Bro, it's about winning. And especially now the Knicks have won, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But yeah, it's about winning though. Right? So you need experience to win. Or just like the Kentucky team when they had the platoon system with Devin Booker coming off of the bench. Like, unless you have like a team like that in that type of era, okay, then you can run through everybody. But now it's not like that. You got probably 1 or 2 ball handlers, and the rest are just hybrid wings that can switch everything, shoot, run, and dunk. Right? It's a balance. So it's more plug and play. But the thing with it being more plug and play, yeah, we're gonna pay y'all, but yeah, you might only get 4 games to show what you got. Because we got to move on. We have to make sure this works because we're paying y'all. Like, you're pros now. So the seeding conversation like what we just had would have been like maybe when I was in college. Like, that was when it was like our only goal is to get to the tournament. We get to the tournament, all our lives are changing. That was the mindset. Yes. Now it's I need to average this so I can transfer here so I can get paid this. And then once I'm at this big school, okay, yeah, now we're going to go far in the tournament because we got a bunch of killers on one team with experience and a budget. So now we go far in the tournament, still not going to the draft, trying to go overseas. We're going to transfer again to get paid again. And then now we done. If it works in the NBA, cool. Some guys going to go overseas for a couple of years just to give it a try, but they're not there for money. I had a rookie on my team this year in France. He literally was not there for the money because he had made so much money in NIL. But now you start to see the mindset differences because it's like you just hooping because it's fun, bro. We trying to win. I need you to read the scouting report, bro. Because like he has 30 right now. We have a problem. I need you to do your job. We're not playing for fun. We got shit to take care of. So this is the difference in what's happening right now in this generation versus kind of some of the older guys. It's this
basically our generation, basically.
Our generation. I hate to say it, but like
no, it's I think because it's so different. Like our generation, when like the fact we were in college kind of around the same time, I think a lot of people didn't understand that we could not. First of all, this was before NIL. We could not accept any food. If somebody offered you to give, even if a restaurant worker, if you were in campus, they offer you to give you food for free, you had to turn that away because you were afraid you were going to get sanctioned, you were going to get suspended and disciplined. Even though it's like, we didn't ask for this, they like, and the transfer, and also the transfer portal was so different. Like you had to sit out a whole year.
Yeah, no matter what, we don't care. You sit in a year. Like, this is a prime example. And this is actually, I forgot this earlier, but this is the main point where I was like, okay, I'm going to bet on myself and try to go professionally. So when Musselman left and they brought in a coach from UCLA at the time, I don't remember his name. I can't remember his name, but I was just at the point where I'm like, I didn't talk to 3 coaches in a year, and everybody's lied. So I didn't even give him a chance, if I'm being honest, right? Which now that I'm more mature, I should have sat down and actually talked to him and gave him a chance because he was the one that wasn't lying. But I decided, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to go to St. Louis University and play there my last year. And I'm pretty much basically at home. Like, it'd be a perfect way to go out of college, at least. And we get basically back to the portal of having to sit out. We get a phone call randomly, somebody at Duquesne. Now that I'm older and I know the story, but basically got it because I was supposed to get a mental health waiver to go home because of the type of year that I had. And in the midst of that, I had lost a close friend on campus, right? So it was a whole bunch going on in like a 4-month span. Any other time, you getting this waiver approved immediately. I was about to get it approved, didn't get it done because they were like, back to your transfer rules, like you said, back then, transferring conference, you had to sit out 2 years if you're in the same conference. Duquesne and SLU is in the A10 in the same conference. So got a tip. They didn't want to have to play against me. But that his transfer shouldn't count because he transferred technically. He was only in Nevada for a semester. So he wasn't going for a year. So his transfer technically doesn't count. And he transferred in conference. At the time, it was like under a bylaw that was actually correct. So they was like, yeah, you can go to SLU, but you got to sit out for 2 years. Nah, bro. Sit out for 2 years and then play it. It's cool, right? So yeah, like we had penalties. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just super cool to just up and leave.
All right.
But now they can, pretty much do as they please.
Like the thing was, if the only time you were like when I was, the only time somebody got an immediate like granted eligibility was the graduate. Like you, like the grad, like, and then also like the red shirting was also like somewhat an issue because you had to like prove like you were injured. You had to prove like this, and it was a whole process. So, and this leads to my question, like you mentioned, I think a lot of people like to downplay overseas competition. I love overseas competition. I enjoy watching overseas games. That's just me. I will watch it over, say, American competition. No offense, y'all. But this leads to my question. What would you say are some of the misconceptions of overseas basketball competition?
You're not going to get to a certain level if you don't have a brain. So when I hear people talk crazy about overseas, then I look at their page and then be like, yep, you was one of the ones that couldn't go too far. Because one, it's tough to be away from people 10 months out of the year, come home for 8 to 9 weeks, and then do it again, and then do it again, and do it again, and do it again. Also, it's tough to go knowing you're worth more, but when you start, you're going to get paid less than what you're worth, and to continuously play at the performance level of where you should be without it actually matching your reality, which means you don't have the resources that you need to really put into your body and your game because you grind it. So it's like it's tough to do. So do I understand the knock? Yes, but we can't sit here and say it's not good basketball. I'm not going to sit here and do a top 5 list, but depending on your top 5 in the NBA, I'm going to guess 3 of them are European. 2 for sure. So we're not going to sit here and say it's not good basketball. We all just watched the Olympics. Thank God we have Steph Curry. We don't win gold without Steph. And he had to pull some shit out of his bag that he don't even know how he did it for us to win it. And that is one of the greatest USA teams we've had. So we're not going to sit here and act like it's not good basketball. So, like you said, how do I feel about that? A lot of that comes from people that didn't make it very far or couldn't even get in the door at the level that they wanted. So it's a little bitterness, and they're trying to, pour, I don't want to say dirt, but, pour a little doubt on there because they know the average American isn't going to watch a European game, mostly because of time difference, right? So it's a lot of research that would never really be done. But now with social media, now with a lot of athletes building their own platforms, a lot of athletes showing their lives and how they're being treated and all of this, you can't really say that no more because a lot of people are starting to see behind the veil and be like, wait a minute now, let's talk about it. And then the other thing that's important I love is this one-on-one scene that's going on. And like the pro-ams and everything that happened all over the country in the summertime, they're starting to be more televised. Everybody has their pages now. They're sharing reels. So you having a chance to see access of different people that you don't get a chance to see play throughout the year. And you can't then say it's bad basketball because most of the dudes coming from overseas come and they kill the city. Every year summer, they come to their different cities. So you can't say, oh, it's not good. It sucks over there. How? Can't say the lifestyle sucks. We're starting to see behind the veil. Can't say the players aren't good. They come home, they cook everybody. Mm-hmm. So what are we talking about? But a lot of that comes from bitterness, or just those that have never done it and they just want to talk. You know, everybody got an opinion. You know what I mean? But it's not valid. It's not.
I remember I asked this question a long time ago when you first came, and this one hit so deep for me because I remember you said people think the lifestyle is sweet. People think it's sweet. Like they think it's like easy when it's like no, it's not easy because like I remember this answer wholeheartedly because I was like, yo, this is so true because I hear when people like say, oh, I could just join, say, an overseas team if I don't make it. It's like, no, that's because I remember you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, like, it's disrespectful to the Americans that have to take this type of path to where they have to work hard and they have to go through, say, a process, especially like getting a visa, getting the process of it. It's disrespectful for, say, the natives who live there and actually play there since 16 years old, play professionally. So it's like you can't say like it's easy when, and also too, like you could have the best performance of your life and you will get cut the next day. It just depends on, like, it's like a business. It's like like a cutthroat business that I think a lot of people think is like, oh, it's not cutthroat, but it's like, nah, you can ask someone how many.
On a Saturday night, we went out after the game. We had an off day on a Sunday, unplug. I'll come in to lift Monday morning, and 2 people weren't on the team no more. And where such and such at? Oh yeah, coach, yeah, we cut them. Why? I'm confused. And then the crazy part of it, you would think, all right, it's gonna take a week or two to replace. You got the lift in the morning. By the time you get the team practice in the evening, there's 2 more Americans walking in. Oh, y'all cutting different.
Oh, so that's the thing I wanted to ask. Is like, do they have, especially from your perspective and your experience, is like they only take a certain amount of Americans on certain teams?
Yeah. So it depends on the league. I know, for example, like Lithuania, Poland, Hungary, some more like Balkan countries, like the kind of the leagues where there would be more of like the leagues where you go to make your jump type of leagues. Or if you're like a little older or coming off of an injury, you kind of go there to like show, hey, I still got it. Like those are your areas, and they normally carry about 2, maybe 3 Americans, right? Now when you break into like a Germany or France, Spain's the top league too, but Spain is like 2 Americans, which is why it's really hard to get into the ACB. But then your Germany and France's, it's more Americanized, right? They have about 5, maybe 6 Americans, or they probably split it up. Like it'd probably be like 3 or 4 Americans, and then they go get like one guy from Europe, but from another country, or one guy from Africa. Like, they kind of mix it. Turkey's another thing like that. They probably have a lot more Americans, and then other guys kind of blend it, and then maybe they have less locals. And that's why Germany, Turkey, France are like more athletic. The game is kind of more Americanized because there are more Americans on the court naturally. So we're going to naturally play more of our style than, but yeah, other than that, it's not very many, you know. And even with that 5 or 6, like you might get 1 or 2 replacements in a year. All right. Um, Germany and France aren't as big on cutting because they have like more like legal obligations as far as their taxes and how they pay players, and like they're really more a lot more structured. And I know in France that I learned this year, you only get 2 medical replacements, like no matter what. So one injury happens, you can replace, and then you can maybe do 1 cut, but they not too quick to cut one because they go get a certain pool of players. So they kind of go get guys that have never really been cut really forward to kind of prevent that. But they also are very, slow to do it because, okay, we cut him because we don't like how he played this week. But yeah, now in March, someone gets hurt. Now you only got 1 replacement, and they can mess your whole team dynamic up, right? But again, that's more of a business and tax reason of why they don't cut, not because they don't want to replace you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it depends on the country, but yeah, it's not that many. It's really not. It's a small brotherhood. It is a small brotherhood. And yeah, it's cutthroat. It really is. It really is.
Do you feel like, because I think some people try to chase that lifestyle, especially seeing like, with social media, like you see a lot of like, and I mean, I enjoy seeing like the overseas players like talking about their experience on, say, the social media they share, their day in the life and stuff. I think it's dope and stuff. So, do you feel like, with the lifestyle, people kind of go stray away from the essence of the game of like, you're losing the essence of the game of you loving the game the first time versus you're chasing after the lifestyle that could be kind of like taken away if you kind of don't,
Mhm.
you forget where you come from.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, there definitely been guys that have been cut because they party too much. Um, you're a professional and you're getting paid to do a job. So do they know you're going to go out from time to time and be a human? Like, of course, like they're not stupid. You know, no one's really. Dude, that's the other thing about life. Period. Like, stop thinking people stupid, bro. People not stupid. But like there's ways to do it. There's ways to go about it. You know what I mean? Of course, you're gonna go to your dinners. You're gonna have off day. And today we just won. Okay, cool. I might go to the club, but that don't mean you be in the club till 7 a.m. Right? If you do, don't don't post your whole life on social media. Y'all gotta stop doing that for real. And I know I probably sound old saying this, but like if you want to do a little vlog, some content and stuff, cool. But after a certain time, don't post none of those stories. Like, don't trust nobody in your close friends for real. Don't post life or death stuff that could jeopardize your
Mhm.
welfare and your close friends thinking you can, bro. Like, keep it p. You know what I mean? Like, be out the way. Know how to do your job. If you're doing your job, ain't nobody gonna message you no way. If anything, they're gonna be like, "Yo, you want to come out?" Like, you want that situation, and then you have a whole lit lifestyle that maybe don't nobody know about, and they don't need to know about it because you are a brand, right? You are a professional. You are a highly skilled professional. You need to walk like that, talk like that, act like that on the court, off the court, right? So wait till you get home in the summer if you really want to just go crazy. But and still keep that off social media and don't get in trouble because guess what? You get in trouble in the States, you can't travel. I heard a couple of guys' stories like they come home, they do something stupid, even if it's a little misdemeanor. Guess what? They're holding their passport until that's done. And in fact, that is even in your situation, and your agent even got to tell somebody that's gonna spread like wildfire. Your reputation precedes you. By the time you already get somewhere, then talk to 5, 6 other places you done been. They wouldn't even called you if they didn't call and didn't like what they heard. Y'all have to understand this is really how this works. This is not a game. Of course, it's not meant to stress. It's not meant to be paranoid, but you got to carry yourself like you want somebody to pay you. The dollar amount you got in your head that you want to get paid, you need to carry yourself times to that. And it's just that simple.
That's man. Let them know, Mike. Let them know. Let them
Trying,
know.
man. I'm trying, man. I'm
Let them know.
trying.
So this leads to my question. It's interesting because like with the growth of basketball includes, the growth of women's basketball and I definitely see you as an advocate of women's basketball. And this leads to my question is to what inspired you to advocate for women's basketball?
Well, if I'm being all the way honest, and she's gonna love this, make sure you tag her in this clip. Alicia Sutton, aka Suge Sutton. She grew up around us, and I ain't gonna lie, she used to bust our ass as a kid. Well, at least mine. I can't speak for everybody, but I done held a couple buckets, right? But it was never oh, this is the girl in the neighborhood. Like we not, no, like let's hoop. So growing up in that environment, okay, we playing down on 3-on-3. Okay, we got one girl on my team, put one girl on that team, and then like we all hooping, or like that's how play with real hoopers. Girl, like they got game. So it's like I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I didn't seen it when Nefisha was growing up in St. Louis. No, I don't know if the world really remembers that, but she grew up in St. Louis. She went to a very popular high school in St. Louis, and is drawing blanks. I want to say Incarnate Word. Let me know if I'm wrong later, but I want to say it's Incarnate Word, right? That was her high school. So we had the same trainer, right? So some mornings I go work out before high school. She was already there at 5. I was going at 6, think I'm doing something. She in full sweat at 5. Like, oh shit. Not only am I getting beat to the gym, but this is a woman's hooper. She's taking it serious. And again, playing one-on-one, thinking shit sweet. I done held a couple of them buckets. Right? So just growing up in that environment, just taught me like of course there are girls on a professional or college level. Okay, y'all I play with yourselves and we play with ourselves, but I never looked at it like oh, the girls are playing. Like, no, bro, that's a bad way to look at it. And I'm also the type of person, you can learn almost anything by watching anything. It's all about how your brain works. So I always find it intriguing that, okay, I know with a lot of dudes, they made it as far as they could just simply because they can jump. There's nobody in women's basketball that got where they could just because they could jump. Even if you look at Brittany Griner, you look at Angel Reese, you look at girls that are taller, they still have some type of skill on footwork, mobility. All right, like they have to use their brains more because they don't have as much. Oh, I'm just gonna rely on my athleticism. So if you watch, because the game is still angle-based chessboard. So if you look at their angles and you pay attention to the essence of the basketball game, you're gonna learn something. For example, I was just watching the Atlanta Dream versus Chicago Sky game before we got on. Right, it was on YouTube. And by the way, I love that the NBA is streaming on YouTube. It's just so efficient. But I'm watching it, and I don't want to break Chicago. I don't want to break Chicago down too much, and somebody end up clipping this and get their whole offense defensive scheme. But like, they were killing 3-man dribble handoff to the flares. Like I'm talking, I know that they practice this. But they're actually running their plays and their actions, not even plays. They're running their actions to the T because they're not just relying like a Kyrie to break down everybody, get to the paint, and then we make something work. No, we got to run an action and we have more teamwork because we might not have as much explosion off the one-on-one or whatever. Like, so we're going to play together, which is how the game of basketball is supposed to be played. We got into this whole ISO and get in your bag era, but that's how it's supposed to be played. We're going to dribble handoff into a pick and roll. We're going to slip out. Now we playing basketball. They play basketball. And I love watching basketball. Sometimes you watching NBA or even sometimes overseas. It doesn't matter with men, period. It's like, bro, it's so much. Not saying women don't have ego, right? We all have ego to a certain extent. But like it's so much like, oh, I'm going to give you a bucket. No, I'm going to give you a bucket. Like, bro, this is boring. Pass the ball. Like, like even in our program yesterday, like we playing and when we go up 15, we moving the ball. Of course, you have your ISOs here and there. But then they come back. Why? Because the ball is sticking. We didn't took 10 dribbles in 15 seconds in the same spot trying to twin cross. Now it's a pro-am and we working on our games, and I get that, but it's just the simple essence of that. Then the women's programs right after us, what are they doing? Pick and roll, slip. Like they playing basketball. I like watching basketball, right? I love a bag work. Don't get it twisted, but like I love watching the essence of basketball. So that's why I love and appreciate women's basketball because when you watching them play, where they playing basketball.
I think because, that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people I know that I've always asked guys, they're like, it's the essence. They're, of course, some, I mean, yeah, there may not be a lot of dunking, but how they play, how they are it's team oriented. They pass like if they'll pass a great pass like a Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray can pass like I mean she's a point guard for a reason. As in the women's, she's a point guard for a reason. You have like say it's just so many players. Like I mean you had Marina Mabry who scored 53 points in a game that tied the most points in a game in a WNBA game. Like the first time that happened was Elizabeth Cambridge back in the Dallas Wings days when she was the first person who scored like 53 points in a game. And then her former teammate Asia Wilson did something like that. And then Marie Mayberry, who is literally money making shot just for Toronto. Like it just continues to grow. And I think, you have players coming out that's about to come out. A lot of these players that's about to come out, especially for women's, a lot of them are also like, they're not in a rush to go to the NBA, WNBA nowadays because they're getting paid.
They know what they got to deal with, and they're getting paid for sure, and they know what they got to go and deal with. WNBA, coming from somebody that actually likes y'all's brand, y'all have to figure it out. I know y'all need my money. I know that. I get that part. Because you got to generate more money today, have to go to get the check for more money. I get that part. But we got to figure something out. Y'all got too much talent but no jobs. Like, yeah, maybe one day when I'm doing my career, I can join WNBA board or something. Or like work my way up to the board. Because, yeah.
It's just, I mean, because like, it's like, yes, the expansion is great, but 12 spots.
That ain't gonna cut it.
Like 12 spots, like maybe expand the roster spots to where there's capability, or maybe have like I remember somebody saying, why not have like a G League, a developmental league well, now they have but here's the thing, they have Unrivaled, which is great, which is 3-on-3 basketball for the women's, which is amazing. Actually, the women's basketball players are getting paid way more in Unrivaled and getting more benefits in Unrivaled than say the WNBA. Then you have
the Unrivaled player ran.
Yeah, it was founded by Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And the fact that both of those players founded that league, which is great, I think is amazing. They founded that league and provided more resources for women, because a lot of people forget that some of these women players are moms and they don't get, say, certain benefits.
Wow. Especially, I didn't know that.
A lot of people didn't know, because like back in the day, certain clauses of contract, like you have to kind of But I always love it when, say, the female hoopers, like say the female hoopers come back from delivering the baby and they snatch back and just play. I just love that. I'm like, we do that all the time. But it's like, I don't do it, but all the other women do it. Like,
and I couldn't ever do it. So, you know, the other thing I love about women's basketball too, and I peeped this earlier, and it kind of like took me down a quick spiral. One, their beef that they have with each other, that shit's real. You know, NBA sometimes be acting like they don't care that much. Men don't care that much. Women, when they say they don't like you, they mean that, and they carry that on the court. So that makes their game a lot more intense. The other thing that I like is you can tell when they have team unity, they have team unity. For example, Angel Reese, she got fouled, but they didn't call it in the game earlier today. And her teammate on the bench was way more pissed off than she was. All right, like from time to time you'll see it about, man, that's why, depending on the game probably. But when you add the seriousness of their beef with like stuff like that, you can tell like they care more. And I think NBA's past couple of years, and especially now that the Knicks have won, it's shifted a sense like they're going to get guys that care, because you out there it finally clicked. Oh, let's go get guys that actually care and like basketball versus just have potential. It took 7 years. Finally, we got here. but you know, that's important, right? Because those type of moments carry you throughout the season as a team when you travel and when y'all just at practice or when y'all just kicking it. Like those are the moments that bring the team actually together. And then those are the teams that win, that end up being like a fist. Like, no, ain't nobody getting on you. They're not getting on me. Like, we in this together. Like, right? It's more of a what we cumulatively can do. And of course, we need the individuals to beat the individuals, of course. But it's a more of a unit, and I appreciate seeing that. And that's little stuff that a lot of people probably don't even pay attention to, but that's another reason, me personally, why I really gravitate towards it, because you can tell they care.
Oh, absolutely. Like I will say from women's point of view, like when somebody don't like somebody, we don't like them. Like I mean, it's intense. That's why I wish, like, sometimes I wish some women were like men, where like they beef it out and then like the next day, hey, we good. I wish we had that, but then if somebody don't like somebody, it's intense. It's
It's
like
life. Yeah, it's life. Yeah.
but this leads to my question. I always say that athletes are humans first, but for you as a black man and an athlete, how important is mental health to you?
Extremely. I think mental health with my nervous system therapy is like my biggest expense, because and there's multiple reasons, but I would say one main reason why I think it is super important, not even just for athletes, but and I'm gonna speak for a male because I'm a male. Any male is because you'll get lost in this journey. It took me until probably within the last year and a half, maybe, to really understand and like be comfortable with there's professional journey and professional you, and then that's actually who you are. But when you're grinding for so long and you have these goals and some get checked off and some don't, and then you get caught in this and this, you're always in figure out mode, like you get lost. And I had that moment really in Lithuania when we talked in that period. It was kind of a first time in basketball. I was like, why is this like so complicated? All right, like, why am I not hitting the shots that I normally hit? Why, when I do miss a shot, am I in my head so much? Like, why am I like, what is going on? Which is when I started really diving into, all of the mental health and having therapists and your nervous system. Because over the course of years of even just lifting and working out, like you're so tense that you're not even breathing correctly. So it's very important. And then you add the being black part to it as well. There's a different type of patience. There's a different type of understanding and just aura, as a lot of people say now. There's a different type of aura that you have to like maneuver through life. Period. Then you have your family, you have your significant other, you have your friends, you have guys that you're mentoring that they think you just know everything, which you know a lot, but you don't know everything. So you feel that, which is never a complaint, because this is what a lot of people pray for and what you work for. So you understand that, but you have to compartmentalize. You have to understand, okay, I am me. And if I'm not right, my spirit not right, my heart, my body, my nervous system, my mind, then ain't none of y'all gonna be right anyway. So you come ask me all the questions you want. I don't have the answers if I'm not right. Right? So taking care of yourself first, and not in a selfish sense, but just understanding like a lot of us are the source. And that source could be the source for family, the source for this, the source for that, whatever. We're a source, which is a great energy to be able to be. But you can't get lost in it. You can't let it like chew you up and spit you out, because it will. If you're not careful, you would just get swallowed and you just look up like, bro, I don't know what's going on. Right. And then that's when a lot of mental lapses happen, episodes, and people get diagnosed with this, get diagnosed with that. Like, that's when all that comes in, because you kind of just like push everything down and like, oh, I deal with this later, I don't have time for this. Like, no, you better make time for it, because when it does come out, it's gonna come out at the worst time possible. And you're not going to be able to recognize yourself, and it's more than likely going to mess up some emotion that you've been working for in the first place. So you have to make time. It's very important. Even if it's 5, 10, 15, 30, depends, But you have to make some time for yourself to like, am I okay? And if you're not okay, it's okay. There are people out here that are not okay. I'm not all the way okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody around me on a day-to-day basis will tell you. And you kind of know me personally now too. Like, I'm a little loose screw. Not in a crazy sense, right? But just in a, you're a little off, bro. Like, but you're off. You have to be, because look at all you're doing. Look at what you're trying to accomplish. Look at like the responsibilities you have. Like, you damn right you off. Because the average person, like, not compartmentalizing all of these different aspects in different countries, and this person over here and this team over here, and they're like, the average person can't do that. So it's okay, and you should wear it as a as a badge of honor, because it really is. But understand that from that, like, take the, and I'm not gonna say unnecessary, but like, take the extra pressure, the extra, oh, today I gotta be perfect. I gotta take that away, man. Just understand, okay, I know where I want to go, and there's going to be a whole story that unfolds between where I want to go and where I am now, where I was. Like, it's a whole thing. Enjoy it, right? Even in downtowns, you like laugh at yourself sometimes. That's what I started doing recently. When something goes bad, I'm just like, yeah, that is crazy. Like, I can't even be bad. Like, you know what I mean? Because I know, okay, yeah, today was bad, or this week was off, but okay, if I had an off week, that means God got a hell of a month stretch coming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to have this balance. So y'all go find somebody to talk to. For real, if you want to talk to somebody that's in the same industry and you like, damn, I never thought about it like that, like, y'all can hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, if you want to have that type of convo. But yeah, man, that's very important. And I'm an extreme advocate for mental health, regardless. Like, that's why I got my degree in psychology, actually.
From your perspective, why do you believe it's very difficult for, say, men and male athletes to speak up about mental health?
I think one is they don't know how, because most athletes, man or woman, have been like a superhero to a certain extent their entire lives. So it's not until you probably get to a certain like pivotal moment, a moment that didn't go well for you, that it hits you. Damn, I'm not a superhero. I need help. But in the midst of that, outside of that, ego, because and some aren't very humble. Some athletes that aren't very humble. So the ones, especially that are braggadocious their entire life, like, oh, look at me. And then they hit that wall, and it's like, well, damn, I can't say I need help now. I've been talking shit my whole life. You know what I mean? So that, and then I think some people just don't want people in their business, which I understand that. Like, if I'm building something here, Brandon, I don't, because as an athlete too, I don't feel like dealing with this right now. I have to accomplish this. Like, that's our mindsets. It's like, I deal with this when I deal with it. This needs to get done now. It's like this hyper focus that we have, which is a good thing, because that's what helps you excel. But if that's not, and that's what I have to learn, if that's not managed, if that hyper focus is not managed, you're going to look over and everything else in your life is going to be dying. Talking relationships, I'm talking health, mental, like, even your game, to a certain extent, you just can't see it yet, right? So I think, and then just, you don't know what you don't know until you know what you don't know. I think, when things are going great, no one's thinking of like, okay, well, okay, am I still like prioritizing the right things? Like, you're not thinking about that, because you're on the high. You're working out, you're traveling, you're not thinking about that. So I think it kind of a mix of all of those, my opinion. Probably a mix of some of those.
Because I look at it is where, like, I always say, even the strongest man alive cried. It says it in the Bible. The man, Jesus wept. So it's like, I always wonder to myself, like, I'm pretty sure, and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, like, I'm pretty sure that every man, there's times where a man doesn't just want to have to hold all this weight on his shoulders all the time. This man probably wants to relax and just, have his me time and just be able to express his feelings without, the stigma of, if he expresses emotions, he's weak and stuff. Like, That's why I'm thinking. But I could, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. If that's
No, you're not wrong. You're 100% right. That's definitely another avenue that a lot of people come from is that one, right? To piggyback off of that, I would say it's two, and I tell my girlfriend this a lot too. It's two sides of that man coin. It's one side of it is you have to understand who you are because you asked to be. So when the pressure comes, we're not gonna sit here and complain and moan about it. Now there are moments where you are human though, and you need to understand that. And you even have my cup is full, right? We all do, and you need to understand that, and then you need to find different avenues to be able to pour your cup out, relax. If it's a day, if it's a week, if it's a month, if it's a year, whatever. When you get to your brim, you need to be able to be like, okay, no, like y'all gotta let me go recharge because it's not like this is about to implode. But then once you recharge and get what you need, then now it's time to come back to the table and be the superhero that you signed up to be. All right. So it's a two-way street.
uh, that's man. You said it so perfectly. First of all, shout out to Mary. Hey. So, which this is a conversation I feel like a lot of people, especially athletes, especially like folks that want to date athletes, because a lot of people I know, some people want to date athletes and try to be like they
Oh
like
yeah,
to say they like to say want to get into that supposedly the lifestyle, but
they want the
my question
Instagram, they want the shopping sprees, they want the don't worry, I'll talk about it. They want the travel vlog, they want the dinners, they want the jewelry, they want that. Dealing with a dedicated athlete, first of all, if he or she, can afford everything I just listed, oh, you dealing with a certain type of mindset. That's not easy to deal with. So your trips and your Insta posts and TikToks and ain't gonna nearly outweigh what you about to deal with every day. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Because if they can afford that, you dealing with a loose screw or two. It comes with the territory.
I and this leads to my question because my thing is because like for me like I look at it like I look at it so differently. Like I know how would say an athlete is gonna like scheduling stuff. So my question for you is like, how do you balance your relationship and basketball simultaneously?
Um, it has to be a bridge, right? Like we have to be able to have our time in the midst of this journey. Um, I balance it by personally, I don't necessarily care for too much shenanigans, right? Like, so at a certain time of the day, I'm off my phones, I'm off my laptops, and I'm checking in, right? Like, what you got going on? We're gonna watch a movie. We like to eat. That's what we like to do, right? So we trying different foods. That's our thing. The other way to balance it is your partner. You guys are gonna have your yin and yang, right? You're gonna have your differences, but also yin and yang and the differences they intertwine. So me and Mary, we have a lot of shit in common. We don't care to do too much. We don't care to be around too many people. We don't care for the club. We're gonna want to get a good little food, stay out the way, relax, chill. We have that in common. So therefore, okay, I got my workout. She likes to work out. Perfect. I go work out like summertime. I go work out at 7 of my trainers. It's a gym attached to it. She's working out. So we both did what we supposed to have done. Now we come back together. We in the car. We come home. We talk our business, right? We got our trading stuff we do. We got a real estate company that we're building, right? So we have our things that keep us here. I think that's very important. If you're going to have a partner, even if they're an athlete or they're just business, I don't care what it is, you have to have some commonalities. And I would say for sure as an athlete, because we travel so much. So we can, off of this court, think long-term and figure out how we're going to make money together and build this legacy and build this empire that we want to build together. That's going to naturally keep us here because We have a couple businesses together. You know what I mean? We have like, okay, we don't feel like doing business. I definitely ain't hooping. You ain't having no meeting. So, well, let's go catch a movie, right? Like we went to watch Toy Story randomly one night. We do a lot of like just random stuff because we have a lot of similarities. So I think that's very important too. You have to be very intent on your partner, not just, yeah, bro, I was at the club last night, man. I pulled up and nothing about little wop wop. You don't know nothing about little wop wop. You know what I'm saying? And you moving super fast, doing all this stuff because your lifestyle has presented you with the ability to do it, and you probably not think twice, even though you should. But that's financial literacy. We'll talk about that later. But though, like, but you don't know anything about them, and now you're just moving around, and then when that first hard moment hits or first schedule don't line up, and it's like you like to do that? Like, oh, I hate that. Oh, you like that? Oh, I hate that. Like, and now it's this battleground, and now y'all growing apart, and now something bad happens because people can't just be honest and say, look, it's not working for me. They got to go do something crazy, right? And then now you got to go through a heartbreak, and now you got to rinse and repeat. You have to be very intent on who you're bringing into your life and whose life you're entering, right? Like, so one of our first conversations was, what do you want out of your life? Because I know what I want out of my life and what I'm willing to work for. Now, is it going to take us time to get there? Absolutely. Is it going to be slow? Absolutely. I get that part. But are we on the same end page? Right? And then you start there. And then, hopefully it's somebody that can just be honest with you. I think that's important too. But that's more a personality thing. Unfortunately, you don't know until you know with that one.
It's just, to me, like, it was so interesting. I was like, dang, like, Mike got a girl, like the hard launch, soft launch thing. I was like, oh, Mike got it. I was because I saw when I first, I was like, who's this woman? I was like, she's pretty.
I fucked the whole world up. I ain't gonna lie. I definitely dropped the bomb. But I've been telling people. Remember when we had our interview? I was like, I know I'm working on myself right now, but like I'm in the process of like finding like my real. Like I'm not out here just playing. Like I know what I want.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did not take that seriously. You just talking game. Okay. And then I found my person, and then I popped out, and everybody's like, oh damn, you were serious. That's the problem. Everybody think I be joking. I be dead ass serious, bro.
Because when I was like. Because it was like one of those posts, like it was during your last season, and I was like, I saw a girl. I was like, oh, I was like, so. And then I saw and then it was the video where it was Mary had created it, and she was rebounding for you, and it had LMA. I was like, this is so perfect. Like this man is living like every hooper's dream, having somebody rebound for them.
Yeah, for sure. Like as a lifestyle though, because she was like, "Yeah, this is cardio for me." I'm like, "Well, it ain't gonna be that much cardio because I ain't gonna miss very often." But I got you. I got you.
It's not much stuff. I'm gonna make sure it makes some shots, but we're gonna put some
fun, man. Get someone that's adventurous. Like, life is too short to be like super nitpicky about everything. You know what I mean? Like for example, earlier today we woke up, we watched church, and we go to the park. Get to the park. Oh, I forgot they had a hoop. Got the ball on the trunk. We out there in the park just talking and shooting in 100-degree weather at the park, having a great old blast. Like just spontaneous. Just on a Sunday, we chilling. Get someone that's fun, man. Y'all get away from these Instagram models and all this TikTok. Like, bro, go find somebody that's go touch earth with. Stop playing.
I try to tell folks. I be like, look. My thing is for me, I always tell my people, like, look, my future husband gotta he got a hoop. He's a hooper. And I'm not talking about like them casual hoopers. I'm talking about this man loves to hoop. Like he does this for a living. Like he values I value the game, and I'm a hooper. Like this, I'm talking about like this is his life. I already know the schedule. Oh, he got prayed because
you gotta pray.
Yeah, he gotta pray because this woman is a praying woman. Like I would speak life into. So it's like,
man.
But like that's the thing I always say. Like people don't understand. Like when I say hooper, I'm talking about like this man like hoops for a living. Like this is his career. Like this is something he don't take this lightly. Like It's like I already understand. Like these casual hoopers that I be talking about, I'm talking about like these folks that they find out if a girl hoops, they be like, man, let me get you one-on-one. I'm gonna get you one-on-one for your heart. I'm like, bruh, get out of my face with that. We not
And I
doing this
think
today.
the thing about that too is like it's not necessarily the profession that you're like super like into. It's the discipline. It's the perseverance. It's the
They're
sacrifice. You
the
know,
love
it's
for the like
the
they love
love.
this
Yeah,
game. Like
exactly.
that's what I'm talking about. Like that, like a lot of people think, oh, you just want to no, like no. Like
No,
I see this, like literally, like I see this man hooping for real. Like the
yeah,
time he put in to work, like this man was praying about this dream since he was
yeah,
young. This man worked hard. This man had this dream since he was little, working hard for it and doing basically living out an answer prayer that I'm here for. So
mm-hmm.
see, you know,
I
see, you
get you, man.
know,
I
see,
got you, man. Hey,
see,
you know,
because
like I say all the time, it ain't rocket science. You know.
gotta find the right people. Like one thing for sure, I learned this in the most way. You gotta find the right people who value you, appreciate you, and support you, and not tolerate you. So big facts. But this leads to my question because you know you played a huge part in Chaminades. Like, I didn't realize how huge Chaminade was until you mentioned it, and I was like, oh, these are the. So for you, you and your teammate, everybody loves to know about your teammate. Everybody knows if they know, they know. But what does it mean to you with you being part of that Chaminade teammate? With Chaminade team, with you and Jason. Well, what does that mean to you to like see, you and Jason just continue to do what y'all doing, especially both on and off the court in the basketball world?
Um, it's a blessing and it's humbling especially at this age, at this point, because I mean, from his token, he's not 30 and he's won an NBA championship already. Um, Countless all stars, right? Countless all off the court stuff. He's doing a phenomenal job in the community of St. Louis. Um, and other communities as well. But for sure in St. Louis, right? So it's humbling, and it's at this point you kind of have a damn, what's next, right? Because it's like, in a good way though, because it's like everything's been accomplished, right? Like he had his doubters as like if you would say before 30, he would have the resume of in the NBA itself, the resume that he's had, you would have I don't know why, right? But you would have a lot of people argue like, nah, that's not gonna happen. So that's like it's like now it's the new challenge now that Jaylen Brown's not there, and now you're hearing, oh, he can't get like. Well, this is again why I said earlier why I don't like to listen to people talk about basketball. We all know Brad Stevens is super smart, bit unpeculiar, but smart. The man knows his job. He knows how that team needs to be ran. So if you look at the way the NBA is now that the Knicks have won, NBA is a copycat league. So there's one superstar. There's one 500 million, which is crazy, dollar player on the team now. Then some have a slight 1B, but then other than that, it's a bunch of high IQ, hustle, knock down shots, wings. What was our high school team? To go back to your main point, it was how the Celtics are about to look. I'm not Peyton Pritchard, but that's that similarity type of player. Boom. Right? You got a Derek White that was like our Reggie Crawford, knock down threes, guard. All right, they got an athletic 5 now with Mitchell Robinson. That's our Tyler Cook. They have another big coming off of the bench. He started for us, but that's your other big. Then you got the same superstar. So people don't understand what they be talking about, because if you look at this, he's been in this situation, but now he's primed and he has experience. So he even come back from the Achilles. Yeah, he scored 20, but is anybody looking at playmaking decisions that he's made? Has anybody seen the difference in pace? And this is right off of injury. This ain't before the summertime of work. and actually mentally knowing that you're healthy now. So the motivations change. I say all that to say the motivations change. It goes from prove, earn, and then you get to a certain point where it's okay, that's taken care of. But now it's like how can you really be a master at this game? Right? You don't really care about what the media says no more. You don't really care about no money for real. Like, how can I be my most masterful? And I know that's the energy and the realm that he's in, which is why I say it's like it's a blessing to see. It's like, damn, what's next? Because you're at masterful level at 28. And then in my realm, it's been a blessing because if you would have told almost anybody in the city that my career would have been going the way it's going, they would laugh at you. They would look you dead in your eye and they would laugh like, right. And I say that to say because I never forget, me and Big Tyler, Big TC, we got our first offer the same day, our sophomore year of high school from Illinois State University, right? Which is, looking back on it, it's crazy. You're getting a Division I offer as a sophomore. It's insane. We still had driving permits. But I will never forget this. He called one of the popular trainers in St. Louis and was like, yo, like Illinois State just offered me. He's like, oh, congratulations, this and that. He's on speakerphone. He didn't know I was in the room. He's like, yeah, they just offered Mikey too. He's like, Mike got a Division I offer? What the fuck? And then he wasn't the only one to say that as time goes on, right? SLU didn't recruit me out of high school because I was too small. Right? So it's like nobody would have believed this. I did, though. God did, and my work ethic did. My family did. Closest ones around me, like, bro, like, you got game, bro. Keep going. Like, we not. So I say that to also say, like I said in the beginning, getting around like-minded people, like-minded energies, and even if you can be around people that are better than you, it's always the best thing you can do in your life. Because being around that energy of that team we really all got around each other 14-ish freshman, or actually 8th grade, so 13. I never wanted to be, I don't even think I ever said this to anyone before. I never wanted to be the, damn, what happened to Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, oh, we knew he wasn't that good. Like, I knew I probably would never make it to the league, especially once I learned about why I transferred my freshman year of college and why I should have and the business behind it and the blah, blah, blah. I didn't know that at the time, but I thought, okay, cool. But I know, first of all, I know guys that are in St. Louis that have been playing overseas for years and they live a great life, right? But see, they were never gatekeepers. They were never haters in us growing up. It was always, hey, look, bro, like, don't ever get twisted. Like, this is a possibility. Right? And we ain't telling you, don't, but this is a possibility and this is good. Like, we had that exposure of mindset. Like, okay, if this does not work out, I know I still have this. But the goal is to be a pro regardless, and the goal is to work, and then see how far, God willing, you're going to go. On top of my cherry on top was I refuse to be what happened to Mike. I fucking refuse. And that is and that energy is probably only in me as deep as it was by being next to someone like Jason and Tyler and Reggie and Will every day, because they had the same mentality. So I don't even know if I'm even answering the question the right way, but like,
no, you answered it perfectly, because I think
like it's that important and it's that concrete. And that's how I feel about what we're doing now, because you're past that initial trauma is what it was. As you go through therapy and talk it out and learn things as you get older, you realize that it's a trauma response. It's a good trauma response because you could have went the other way, but it's a trauma response. So now that you've grown and you've healed from that, that's no longer a motivation. That you proved that shit, and it's whatever. But now it's okay. From my perspective, I'm talking about Jason's and his probably what he has going on in his mind, but Mine is now, okay, how do I continue to help Qatar's national team to dominate the way that they want to? We've had a hell of a job since I've been in tenure. We have the World Cup coming up. We have an important Asia Games tournament this September, but we got the World Cup coming up next August, and we win again in the World Cup. We got the Olympics. How the hell do I get to the Olympics? That's now the masterful and 2-year window the drive, I should say. Right. So I think things happen in pockets, right? You have your initial, like, I gotta get out of my neighborhood, I gotta get out of my city, I gotta get out of my whatever. And then you do that and you have to reshape, because what got you there is not what's gonna keep you there. Right? Like the aggressiveness and I don't want to talk to nobody and all of that I had because I'm so focused and I don't trust nobody, that got me to college and got me dominating in college, was not the personality that I could go into year 4, year 5 as a professional with. You have to open up. You have to be more personable. Now, you should keep those lessons. Don't ever discard your lessons. But you have to mature. You have to reshape as time goes on. You have to evolve. And that's off the court, which got into the mental health like we talked about earlier, but it brings it back to on the court. You have to evolve because your motivations change. Your heart posture changes. So I think I answered that as in depth as I could. I tried to give you the most in depth way as possible.
I just think it's so, because I think it's like a lot of people think like, you know, it's like you gotta look at who is on whose team and stuff. Like, you know, I think, you know, it's just like, you know, it's so interesting. Like you're like, I don't want to be like, damn, what happened to Mike? Like, I was like, yo, I felt that so bad. And I was like, because that's like one of those what if stories that you don't want to have to like
I ain't
go
gonna be that part of the what if, because I always knew, and I never forget. I've always been blessed as well with wisdom beyond my years and a prophetic voice, which is another reason why I'm a quiet person, especially when I'm upset, because I have a strong power of the tongue. So I never forget growing up, I was always like, yeah, Jay, you going in the league, like you want to be like Cole, like you gonna have a crazy career. TC, you gonna have a few years in the league, and then some overseas stuff, or however long you gonna play Asia, whatever. I always say I'm gonna be probably overseas in Europe, like living out of the country, doing this, doing that. And this is like freshman year of high school at the lunch table, and they was like, bro, like, what are you talking about? You know, joning on me, just talking crazy. Like, Mike, you always talking about something. Like, then I also said, we're gonna have a documentary one day. We're all gonna be past our playing years, and we all gonna have to walk in and sit on however we have it set up. We're gonna have to sit down. We're gonna have to talk, because what we did in St. Louis and the dynamic and impact we had on the city in our tenure, with sold out games, selling out Lindenwood, selling out SLU, like what we did traveling around the country has to be talked about one day. But I refuse to be the one that comes to sit down. And it's you know how on Netflix when they go to the dark side of the story.
Yes.
It's not gonna be the dark side of the story. Now there are dark moments in everybody's life that I don't mind talking about, but I won't be the side note of damn, like RIP because he crashed out or some shit, like whatever. Like, no, I never did, and I don't know how that motivation set with me. It has to be like, it has to just be God, because it kind of has nothing to do with me in a sense. It's kind of like a selfishness almost, you know. But yeah, that's been my driving factor for sure. One of my main driving factors for sure.
Yeah, yo, that is so real. You like, I have just a prophetic thing, and it's like you said all these things. It's like, damn, like all of them are wherever they are right now. Like, because people don't understand how real the power of the tongue is. Like, I be saying, I always say, like, I've always like, I was telling my priest, like, I told her that she was gonna get married before she was gonna get proposed before the year end, and it's like it happened. And I'm like, man, I don't know what it is. I'm like, I guess it's like when you see something in people that they don't see, and it's like, and it happens, and it's like because you see something that they don't see, but like it's like I see something, and it's way more than potential. It's like, so, but folks ain't ready for that conversation. I be like,
Yeah,
man,
that's a
folks
whole
ain't
nother
ready.
episode. That's a whole nother
That's,
episode.
folks ain't ready for those conversations because. But this leads to my question is, if there is a word or a phrase to describe your journey so far, what would it be?
Relentless. Relentless. I'm just the only time I'm gonna stop is when God say, "Yeah, bro, your time on earth is up." Like it's just, and that's on the court and off the court. Especially now, more off the court as I get older too. But like, yeah, bro, you gotta stop me. Like you gotta kill me to stop me. Like, dang, chill, big fella, relax. But like I would say relentless.
You mentioned like you get like I think you're an example of like saying displaying what, being more than an athlete as you mentioned about like saying the business side, you know, how important is saying having a other passions or the side hustle as an athlete?
I think it's very important. One is very important because even if we play till 40, 40 ain't gonna mean, you know, you still got probably 40 more years to live. So yeah, there's that. And then I think it's also important because you have to have something that gets your mind away from the game. Of course, you got to study your film and you got to do your workouts and stuff, of course. But you have to unplug because that's how you prevent burnout. A lot of slumps, a lot of injuries, even are from burnout, believe it or not. So I think that's kind of why recently I've gotten into more things off the court, and then kind of just starting to understand yourself more. Right, like, I think I'm at the point now of my maturity. I've read a lot, I've studied a lot, been through a lot, seen a lot. So I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, I need to start getting ready to give back. Um, so you have to, build a brand, you have to build platforms, right? That takes time. So that's the other aspect of it. But yeah, I think it's super important. If you're not super like business savvy, and find some people that are, then you for sure know some people, even if you don't know that you know some people that are, right? And let them kind of manage or bounce ideas off of them, and just challenge yourself. I think the other thing, because it stuck with me my whole life, my dad said something to me when I was in like sixth or seventh grade. And I didn't really get it at the time, but as I got older, I get it more and more every year. And he was like, "Do you want to be LeBron or do you want to be the person that pays LeBron?" And
Mm.
I was like, of course, at the time, like, I want to be Bron. What you talking about, bro? Like, get my shoes. I'm ready to go. But he instilled a seed that day because as I got older and I see more of the business side of basketball or in life in general, but for sure basketball, and I'm seeing all this, I'm just sitting back like, oh, I get it now. Now, LeBron might have been a bad example because he's an outlier. He's still around, and that happened when I was in sixth grade. But everybody ain't got a career like Bron. You can arguably almost say no one has a career like Bron or a Kobe that played 20 years or like a Steph or, KD, like those outliers. Like that's an anomaly. The majority don't make it to getting a check. And if they do 3-4 years, and then they done getting checks. So what are you going to do? You know? And then, the overseas route, like as you grow and you get older there and, get better deals, your money increases to where you'll probably have more of a nest egg after your career, but you still not getting, we ain't getting 200 million. Like a lot of like some of the guys in the NBA, where it's like for sure you can live off the interest of 200 million for 2 generations. We're not getting that, so you still got to have some type of something going on, even if it's just investing or like a couple of rental properties. Like you still have to have something going on because you ain't making 200 million. Even if you make 5, like it has to last you, and not just you. You got a wife and you gonna have kids, and then you know what I mean. Or if it's a woman athlete, she gonna have a husband or a wife, and then they gonna have kids or whatever. You got expenses, inflation, like you got life. You know what I mean? So that is the other aspect as well. all jokes aside, that's the the main situation that I saw presenting themselves, where it's just like, yeah, we better go ahead. You're pretty smart. Might as well use your mind. And it's gonna take some years for it to start to click, which is fine. That's what basketball's for. You got the time to figure it out. But let's figure something out though, because you know. And then also, I'm the type of person. I'm been very like honest with myself past few years. So it's like I know I don't want to play till 40. Could I if I wanted to, body wise and health wise, with my trainers and everything? Absolutely. I don't want to though. I have a
Right.
brain. So I'm on. We'll see after the Olympic window, especially if we make it. We'll see how I'm feeling. But I'm gonna. You sacrifice so much as an athlete, and all of us, like with time and travel. Like I got some family members I haven't talked to in a few years, and it's not nothing bad. It's just like, bro, I haven't had the time to see you. Luckily, I have the type of family that pretty much understands it, right? Thank God, because there's a lot of families that don't.
Right.
But it does those type of situations though. Seeing parents get older, seeing grandparents get older, or some passing away. You're missing funerals. Like these are situations where it's like, yeah, I can sacrifice a few more years, but I'm not doing this for 20 more years. Like I'm missing too much. By the time I'm done, one, my body gonna be beat up. I ain't gonna be able to move, play around with my kids when it's time. But then two, like shit, some people, cousins or whoever I want to hang out with, they might have passed by now. Like I've missed it.
Right.
So it kind of comes to priorities as well. Some people don't care, or some don't have very supporting families and they just kind of on their own. You know what I mean? So okay, cool, play it till you 50, bro. Yeah, but even that comes with something, right? So you just kind of got to understand who you are, what you want, man. And you ain't even got to talk to nobody about it. At the end of the day, in your heart of hearts, what it is you really trying to do. So that's kind of why that's important.
And that's so real because Lord have mercy. Like, I think that was the biggest thing is like, you know, some people, I mean, it's so big because like, I mean, I could always talk about like, say, a Jalen Brown or like those athletes, like those Jalen Browns, like those type of players, like a mile more, like how like these are athletes, yes, but they have other things that they're doing that's impactful. That that's something like that they love to do. And I think it's so important to have, say, other hobbies or other passions because at the end of the day, like you mentioned, like that ball is gonna start bouncing. You know, you're gonna have to utilize, say, your mind of doing what needs to be done. Like, I mean, God gave you one brain for a reason. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
brain
utilize.
is a thing to waste, man. Yeah, brain is a terrible thing to waste for sure.
So this leads to my question. I always ask my guests this question because Bonafide means authentic and unique, but for the men, the authenticity is real, y'all. So, but what makes Mr. Mike Lewis the second authentic, and what makes your story stands out?
What makes it authentic is I'm just not gonna lie to you. Like my grandpa told me a long time ago, you only lie when you're scared. So there's that. Of course, can be an idiot. It's ways to say things, but that's definitely what makes me authentic. And what makes mine different? You said different than others?
What makes your story stands out?
Stand out. Um, I think my delivery is a little different than what you'll see on average. Um, but at the same time, I feel like it just stands out just because, like, I mean, it's just my story. So I think anybody's story stands out because it's a different perspective. Like some more in depth than others' perspectives, right? They can grasp it more, but we can all learn something from everyone's perspective. So I don't want to say stand out like a special or some shit. You know what I mean? If I'm being honest, like I'm not, I'm not egotistical like that. I don't think my shit just stands out. But is it different, and could it like make people think a little differently or deeper than maybe another person? Yeah, probably. But I think that's just based off my authenticity and my delivery.
And one more question. If you could give your flowers or respect to anybody, it could be anybody, multiple people, who would you give your respect and flowers to?
First, God. He's been doing his big one my whole life, not even just recently, just life period. Um, and my significant other, Mary, I'm not gonna lie, she sacrificed like her whole career to basically help me, and then free up time for her to really build the business and the life that she wants, that she wasn't gonna be able to do her old job. Moved out the country with me, like almost immediately. So yeah, for sure. She deal with me raw and uncut every day, and I know I'll be stressing her out, bro. For sure. So God and Mary, man.
Ooh, come on with it. I gotta have to bring her shakers, little shakers with it. I'm gonna make sure this girl get clipped, but like, hey, shout out to you, Mary. But like, you in the list with God for the flowers.
You on the list with God.
You're on the list with God, so it's like you in
You
there.
doing something. You doing something.
Let them know, cause I was like, cause first, like I said, shout out to Mary, cause y'all.
Trying to get Mary behind the camera a couple more times, but she ain't trying to sit in the front of no cameraman. She real behind the scenes, like, nah, you need to do this. I'm telling you, I was watching this, you need to do that. Like, you managing the whole shebang, but like I'm gonna get her in front of the camera one day. Eventually, we're gonna get her out. We're gonna get that personality out for sure. But you funny. You talking about you on the list with Mary, shout out to Mary. You on the list with God. You on the list with God, shout out.
You on the list with God, like it's like that's like that top tier list. It's like you on the list, it's like that's that top tier list. Cause everybody say, like God, my family, but it's like God and it's like
Mary. Well, okay, cool.
like, well, it's like, hey, Mike, can you let the folks know where they can find you, support you, and any upcoming events happening your way?
Yeah, man. Y'all see below Instagram, Mike Lewis II, but for real, Twitch, Mike Lou Overseas. If y'all enjoyed our conversation, come tune into my live stream. Real raw uncut stuff, of course. And gonna have some good fun too, man. Life's about fun too. I think we need to have more time laughing and enjoying each other's company as well. TikTok, Mike Lewis II. As well too. Pretty much Mike Lewis II on everything. Mike Lou Overseas on Twitch. Any upcoming events? Not really, man. Y'all, please follow me on Twitch. I'm serious about that. Hit me on Twitch. Follow me. Throw a couple subs my way. I don't have anything too much going on. Like I said, just in grind mode right now. Being smart, re-upping my body, getting really ready for the World Cup. That's my next big outing, I would say. And then yeah, man, other than that, life's good, man. Let's make some money. I want to get in real estate or something, hit me. Let's build this empire.
Y'all be sure to follow the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mike Lewis, at Mike Lewis, like on his Instagram. Be sure to follow that, and Twitch, because Mike Lou Overseas, I'm telling y'all, his reaction videos was be fire already. And you can follow him on TikTok at Mike Lewis, just like that. And if y'all follow overseas teams and stuff, and you see him on your team, y'all got a good one. Because best believe he gonna make sure he gonna get y'all a win. Boom. He's a winner. So
yeah, unless they don't build the team to win, but that's another conversation for another time too.
But one thing for sure, Mike Lou is gonna get that World Cup. So
we gonna get some dubs there because we trying to win.
Y'all be sure to follow Mike Lewis at Mike Lewis on Instagram and TikTok, and Mike Lou Overseas on Twitch. And be sure to check out the live replay of Bonafide Podcast, episode 246, featuring the one and only Mike Lewis II. And thank you guys for tuning in.